G'day gamers, Ranger Tony here, back with more Baldur's Gate 3, but this is not the rogue playthrough, even though we have a rogue here. This is a test of how broken the turn-based combat is. I actually had a conversation. Can we find out what that gentleman's name was? Let me check for a sec, hang on. I had a conversation on one of my previous videos where, that's right, Toxic Pickle 424 said that he didn't understand the problems I had with the system, and that it made sense to him what was happening was only those people who were being discovered. When you are in stealth and you start combat, only those who are actually discovered by the enemy go into combat. And I can understand him saying that. It doesn't make sense to me, though. And this is coming from a background of having played tabletop, as well as years and years and years of computer role-playing, and I have never seen anything like this system that Larian has produced. And admittedly, I didn't notice it in the, I don't know, 20 or 30 hours or whatever it was that I put into Divinity Original Sin. I didn't notice these big glaring problems, but my understanding is they existed there. If they didn't, then they've made an even worse system here in Baldur's Gate 3, because it's not turn-based and it's also not real-time with pause, right? And I've played both types of computer games, and quite frankly, Larian can't decide what they want to do with this game, whether it should be real-time with pause or whether it should be turn-based. And the problem is that you can have a situation where not everybody is in combat, and those that aren't in combat can do things that are totally ridiculous. And I'm going to show you. Now, I had some interesting ideas when I was talking to Toxic Pickle 424, and I came up with a couple of scenarios that I wanted to test. Is it possible to leave one of your companions, so this is step one, is it possible to leave one of your companions in combat and go off, and because you're not in combat, you can go and recruit another companion, or talk to somebody, or have any other interaction in the game, right? Is it possible, the next question then is it possible to have multiple companions in separate combats? And if so, how does that work? Is it possible, number three, to rest while you have at least one companion in combat? And then another one which I thought of after I wrote the reply was, is it possible to do things like take a short rest while some of the companions are in combat and others aren't, and what happens to everybody? Now you can see here, Shadowheart has lost some health, and that is, I deliberately walked her into some of the fire over here to lose some health. That will allow me to test this. So step number one is, we are not far. Here is the abandoned temple over there. We're going to test this stuff out. It's not going to take very long. This is not really meant to be a normal stream. I'm going to finish this. As soon as this is done, I'm going to finish it. I'm going to reset all the settings, and I'm going to continue on with my rogue solo playthrough. But I wanted to test all of this, and I didn't really want to change all my settings just to record one video and then upload that and blah, 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 blah. So it's me sort of cheating that a little bit. But that's what we're doing. So this is a stock standard. The character I've got here is just a stock standard halfling rogue. I did not... wrong keyboard, Tony. It helps a lot if you actually use the correct keyboard for this. So I actually used the default settings. So Dex of 17. Rather than dropping this to 16 and then bumping Constitution up to 16, I've kept this as the default thing. Where halfling, I just went crazy with the look. He's actually got some, I don't know, I call that anime hair, with multiple colours. I just went stupid because this is stupid. So we're ready to test this. The other thing I want to check is... No, you don't have anything. I'm going to give her that dagger. Because I also want to check if if one of my companions is in combat and I'm not, and I'm other side of the map, well, not other side of the map, but I'm a certain distance away, can I retrieve something from them? Can I get them to pass something to me even though we're not physically close at all? Will the game just go, yep, sure, you can have that dagger, and it's not a problem? Like, because all that stuff is basically showing just how broken the game is. So let's have a look. We're going to start here, both of us in stealth, and we're going to creep up here. I'm probably going... I may have to do this a couple of times. I'm not going to guarantee that this is going to work first time I attempt it. Well, actually, to be honest, I have actually tested I actually know the answer to most of those questions that I posted. Because I have tested this. The only one, or the only two things that I haven't tried to do is the last two that I mentioned. Well, I think it's the last two. Seeing if I can do a short rest while my companion is in combat, and what that does. Does it heal them as well as me? I'm not in combat, they are, which shouldn't happen, but it might be a way to break the system, so we're going to try it out. And then the other one is passing an object from someone who is or isn't in combat to somebody else who is or isn't in combat, particularly when there's some distance between them. And I might test that one out. I might test both of those ones out fairly quickly after we start this combat here. But we're going to sneak over to here. Right. And actually, the first thing that I would really like to do, just because it's easier,
cloak and dagger,
is can you just get rid of those for me without... Yes, that didn't break. Stealth battle. No, I wanted you to do that. Very good. Alright, so we're still in combat. We're still in stealth. The enemy doesn't know anything about us. I am going to sneak to right here. So, I'm not in darkness, but I'm also definitely not in line of sight.
I just want a little look.
And then we're going to switch over to
let's make this quick.
Shadowheart and get her to get into combat.
Nice and quiet now.
And yeah, she didn't get into combat properly.
Whatever comes, I'm ready.
Just being
Path is interrupted. Ah, hang on. Alright, Shadowheart is now in combat, and I am not. So I'm going to switch back to
Maybe I
me.
should stay crouched forever.
And I am going to get out of dodge and leave her there. So she is now technically in combat, and I am not. So I'm just gonna, yeah, let's just save over that. Yeah, very good. All right. So we're going to go down here and we're going to go and interact with this and get Gale on our party. In fact, I don't even think I need to be in stealth anymore. I'm going to come out of stealth. It's not going to affect anything. Now, I avoided Astarion back over there. I could go and talk to him. I did kill... I was going to try this with the two intellect devourers over here, but there's no path to get around them in combat. You've got to go through them to be able to get to the rest of the areas around. You can't, there's no, like, path that works that way. And I also killed the Illithid, the Mind Flayer, over here, but we completely avoided Astarion. He's still standing over there doing absolutely nothing. But let's just do this one. Can we recruit Gale? So we're going... The game has already brought us into a cutscene, an interaction, while one of our companions is in combat somewhere else. This could be other side of the world. It doesn't really matter. Like, they're technically over there stuck in combat, and we're doing this. Makes absolutely no sense, but it's happening. So let's see how we go. We'll try and use our sleight of hand. So we're now using a difficulty check, a skill check, at the same time. Now, you will notice that because... or you might have noticed, I probably should have paused before I rolled the dice. When I have Shadowheart in my group, she has that ability that allows me to get a bonus on my skills. She can cast that cantrip, whose name escapes me at the moment. I'm sure someone will put it into chat or in a comment on one of the videos. I couldn't get that because she's over there in combat. So that is understandable, but I didn't really need it. I knew I was going to be able to make this roll without it. Guidance. That's right. Guidance.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders.
So she had guidance, but I couldn't add that in because she's over there in combat. So that's fine. But as you can see here, this is allowing me, even though I have a companion stuck over there in combat, this is allowing me to...
Hello. I'm Gale of
interact,
Waterdeep.
do other things in the world. Makes absolutely no sense at all.
A bit shocked.
But I know you, don't I?
It doesn't really break the game, but it is.
It's a process.
It is incredibly.
Cleric by any chance, do you?
I say it doesn't break the game. For me, it does break the game.
Not exactly
right?
a common affliction.
We're most certainly going to need a healer.
Yeah, it is what it is. I can't believe they let you do this. Once combat starts, you're in combat. Everybody should be in combat.
Oh, it was an act of force.
All right. He's now in my group. He's now leveled up. Technically, we're all still in one group. You'll notice I haven't split the group. Shadowheart is technically still in my group, which makes 0 sense at all. Now I'm leveling up one of my characters with another one in combat. Again, this is just insane, right? That was the wrong spell, but that doesn't matter because I'm not really keeping on with this. So now we're going to take these two guys. And we're going to try and do it all again.
Just out of view.
This one, when I did this in my test, this was actually harder to pull off than Shadowheart's. Because we've got to get so close to... I don't normally attack these guys. They haven't done anything to me. They're just tieflings that are over in Emerald Grove that have come to investigate this. I'm doing this purely because this is the only way I can test this out. All right? So normally I would not attack these guys. There is one of the targets that is attacking Shadowheart right now. Because you can see in red that is going on. So that is super bizarre. So once again, I'm going to hide right here, and I'm going to switch over to Gale, and I'm going to get him. Now, actually, I meant to do a quick save. Let me do a quick save. So once again, Gale got discovered. I didn't. So let's switch back over to me. And let's get me out of here.
My hand slipped.
Hopefully.
Don't waste a step.
Without getting detected. Let's get over here into the shadows. Alright, so I now have 2 companions in 2 completely separate combats. We are going to come around here. And once again, we're going to come out of stealth because we don't need to be in stealth anymore. We're going to come all the way over here. So this is way farther than you're supposed to be able to move
I hear shouting up ahead.
in combat. I mean, you know, this is all just broken, right? We know that. So, we've tested enrolling somebody into our party when somebody else is in combat. We've then taken a second person into combat. Now, I did say I wanted to test... Let me quick save before I try this. Oh, damn it. Oh, no, that just switched me over to... Yeah, I hit the wrong one. Quick save. Rightio. So, I thought I had hit quick load by mistake. Anyway, so, I said I wanted to transfer something to a party member. Well, there you go. If I now switch to Gale, he should now be carrying that axe a couple of hundred yards, couple of hundred meters or more away, instantaneously transported to him. And if I switch to Shadowheart, she's just given me a dagger. Well, let's do the one thing that should really break the game. Let's split out a healing potion. And let's give that to her. Oh, wow. Other side of the map. No, not other side of the map, but I am here. Shadowheart is there. Gale is there. I am there. There's no, like, distance markers on here, but it is not an insignificant distance on the maps. This is where we started, where we fell on the beach, right? So, you know, this is not an inconsiderable distance away, and we have just teleported some items between our party members, other parts of the map. Now, Baldur's Gate, Baldur's Gate 1, a game that I have been playing, and I'll talk about that another time, but I've been playing that in my spare time at the moment, replaying that. Yeah, if you're more than... I don't know exactly, but if I'm here and my companion is there, where that enemy is, in Baldur's Gate 1, it will not allow me to transfer items between inventory for characters that close together. You've got to be closer than that for the game to allow you to move items between inventories. So here I am, far enough away that it has to completely redraw the screen to allow me to see what is going on, and it'll let me transfer items. So that's a couple of the things tested. We now know that. Can I do a short rest here? This is going to be the interesting thing. What is this going to do to Shadowheart? Because if this heals her, then this is going to be game breaking. Okay, a party member is in danger. You cannot rest now. That is good. I am actually surprised. Like you, Owls, I thought that was going to work and that was going to heal Shadowheart. And if it did, I was going to say that what you want to do in this game is play as a warlock. Because Warlock's abilities all reset on a short rest, right? So what you could have done is you make your party, yourself as a Warlock, Will, who is also a Warlock, anybody else, doesn't matter, and Astarion, right? And then what you do is every combat, you get Astarion to start in stealth and don't get discovered. You do whatever you want in combat, and you just go hard with all of the Warlock abilities that you and Will have. And then if you can't get through the combat, if you need more abilities, Astarion is outside of combat, you switch to him, and you say short rest in the middle of combat. which would have healed you all and given your 2 warlocks back all of their abilities to keep going in combat. Thankfully, it's not that broken. But here's the next step. Can we go to camp? Go to camp. Yep. I can go to camp. Now, admittedly, there's nothing I can do here at the moment. None of my other companions are here or anything like that. But potentially I could, if I had other companions, I could talk to them here. I can go and change my appearance over at the mirror over there. I can go and look through my traveler's chest. Can we end the day?
Let's see what this does.
Which is... No. Cannot fast travel? I'm not trying to fast travel. I'm trying to long rest. Cannot fast travel right now. Okay, so that's a little bit broken that it says can't fast travel. But the fact that it doesn't allow me to rest when I have a companion in combat is good. That is good. So, out of the stuff that I wanted to test, what have we tested? Let me just quickly check again on that comment. Excuse me. What I said I wanted to look for. It was... Can I leave one companion in combat with enemies and then go and recruit another companion? Yes, I can. We've seen that. Can I rest in camp while that companion is in combat? I can go to camp, but I can't do a long rest or a short rest. So that actually covered 2 items because I did think about the short rest. Can I leave multiple companions in multiple separate combats, potentially tying up annoying or difficult enemies, and I continue with the storyline? Yes and no, because as you can see, I can do this. I can tie up. If you had an enemy that you did not want to fight, but they were there and you said, okay, there's a way to get around them without fighting them, which if there's a way to get around them without fighting them, you would do it, right? But I don't know. If I can't really think of a situation where you'd really want to do this, but you could potentially use this method to tie up one battle with one companion and just leave them there and then go off and do something else. But you can't rest once you've done that. You've got to get them out of that battle to rest. So the only option really would be let each of those companions die in those combats and then just continue on. So for example, if we go back, if I leave the camp here, let's say I don't want to have anything to do with the Forgotten, with the Forgotten Grove, or whatever this place is called. It seems like Forgotten Grove is the wrong name, but or is it the Emerald Grove? Anyway, this grove full of druids and tieflings. Let's say I don't want to actually do this battle, right? If there was a way for me to sneak past here once one of my companions got into battle here, I could leave that companion in battle. I could then sneak past and get away and then just go on and do as much of the adventure as I wanted to without having to get into this location. And then I could let that character die in that battle and we could have gone past without having to do it. I've never tried to sneak past this battle, so I guess you probably can through the bushes here. It's just once you get close here, the whole cutscene runs. I think the best that you can then do is sneak off to a certain distance, and once you get far enough away, you can flee the battle, I suppose, is what you probably can do. But yeah, because the other thing is that I don't think if you flee, because I've only ever tried fleeing battle when I've been playing solo, right? I've never tried fleeing any other time. So I don't know what happens if one of your characters, does each character have to flee separately? Or do you have to get all of your companions to that distance and then just all flee at once? I'm suspecting, because of the way this engine is, I'm suspecting each one can flee separately. And so if that's the case, you could just, yeah, one by one. Okay, so that means you don't even have to use stealth then. You can just start a combat and then you just leave someone to tie up the enemy and flee. The difference here is by using the stealth trick, one of your companions is in combat and you aren't. So you, because fleeing the combat requires you to get a certain distance away, and that means time in combat has to progress, right? So far, 0 time has progressed in combat for Shadowheart or Gale, despite the fact that I have travelled a few hundred yards away. I have gone to the camp and back, you know, or set up camp and unset up camp, however you want to think about it. And if I go over here and start this combat now, the other thing that I want to find out is what happens to these guys who are in a completely separate combat over there. If I go over here and finish this combat and it's all successful, does it not finish the combat over here because those guys are still in combat? Or does it... Or can I not move to the next... Like, I want to see if I can move to the next round in combat for me without actioning these combats. Right? That's the main thing that I want to see. Or once we're all in combat in 3 separate areas, do I have to do my action and then Shadowheart's action and then Gale's action before I can move to the next round of combat over here? Like, it's just... It makes, as I said, it makes no sense.
Right now.
But, and I've said this before, I'd love to try and hear what,
Open the bloody gate!
let's get through this as quickly as we can. I'd love to hear, like, an official description from Larian Studios as to how or why the system is built this way. You'll notice my other 2 companions are not in this timeline at all. So I'm going to take from this that I'm going to be able to play through this entire combat and it's not going to affect them at all. They're going to still be stuck in their combat back there. Right? So I could potentially let them die. Like, after I finish this combat, for example, let's say I decide I really need to rest. But I can't because these 2 guys are in combat. Well, maybe try and finish their combats and let them die at the very least. If they die, big deal, I don't care. And then I can go and camp because they're no longer in combat. I don't know. But, so I'm going to finish my turn. I'm going to let the rest of these folks have their turn.
Scout! Get to the high ground! Raiders, charge the bastards! For the absolute!
By sickle and sword, strike them down!
All right.
Breathe quiet. Move with care.
So, yeah, it has absolutely 0 effect on the companions' timelines in their battles. when I go into battle, and I'm going to be able to... This battle is going to be done. I'm going to be able to finish this. And it's not going to have affected them at all. They're going to still be stuck in their little timeline back there doing absolutely nothing. I don't... As I said, I don't see how I could use this. But it feels like maybe there's supposed to be some way that you can use. So I'm technically still hiding here, which means I can get a sneak attack on him. And he's still alive? What the hell? Am I going to be able to hide with him there? I did! Ooh, because I've got good cover. Very nice. Oh yeah, I can switch between the battles if I want to. There is absolutely no doubt about that. Right? And then we actually can still see that that battle is still going on because it's not my turn over there. So we can see here that things are still happening over in that battle. Right? And I can now come back to it and it's my turn again. Oh, someone killed that other goblin up there. That's good. Can I get a shot on the bugbear, please? Oh, I wasn't still in stealth. Alright. So yeah, I can switch back and forth between the other combats. Game doesn't care. But things are still happening over there. Yeah. And now that combat is now finished. So, yeah. That is insane. Like, I don't understand it. Like I've said, I would love to hear Larian's justification for how this makes sense, that you can do this in the game. As I said in the post, to me, like the way the game is built around stealth is, let's ignore for a moment the fact that you can flee combat separately, right? Because you could do that in other games, but the difference was you would have like if you do it in. If you try to flee combat in Baldur's Gate 1, for example, not a good example, but anyway, you have to sort of flee off the edge of the map, right? If I remember rightly. It's been a long time since I even tried it. But I've seen other games where you can flee from combat, right? And yes, each character does it individually. But you can't leave the combat until all of your companions have fled, and then you're back on the world map or whatever as a party, and you can do whatever you want. So you you can't get control of those ones that have just fled combat until the battle is resolved, basically, in one way or another. And the battle being resolved means, you know, everything's dead or everybody's fled or whatever, you know. This makes no sense. So, but if we ignore fleeing from combat, you know, the way the game works is if you start a battle with your entire party in stealth, the person who attacks from stealth will generally, not always, but generally be detected when they do it. And when that happens, they are the one who will enter combat. Any of your opponents might then be aware of the direction that you're in, so they'll turn to face the party, and some of those might conceivably detect other members of your party who will also enter combat with you. But anybody who has succeeded in their stealth and hasn't been detected will not be in combat, and that makes zero sense to me. If they don't get detected, they should still be in combat but they should still be hidden, because I can enter combat not hidden, and then I can hide once I get into combat. You know, that is something that you can do, and that makes sense. But if I start combat as hidden, I should be in combat hidden, but the game doesn't allow that, right? And I think that's the thing for me that is weird and bizarre. I wanted to do a playthrough here with an entire party of rogues, and I cannot. I can't do it because I want to start combat with all of us in stealth. And the end result is, every time I do that, apart from the situations where the start of combat is out of your control, like this situation right here, where you get to a certain point on the map and a cutscene or whatever triggers and combat starts, right? But any time where there is an enemy up in front of me, I see them from a distance and I want to initiate combat by attacking from stealth, forget about it. Because only those people that are detected in my party are going to end up being in combat, and then I have to try and do a bunch of ridiculous stuff to get my other companions into combat. Now, I say ridiculous. In most cases, it should be easy. It should just be a matter of switching to one of those other companions, move them closer, let them make an attack, and they should enter combat. Here's the problem. I tried that the other day and ended up with 2 separate combats somehow with the same opponents. Or I think I attacked an opponent that I hadn't attacked. I can't remember, or I don't know. It was something weird. It happened. It was actually when you go through the little cave over here that leads into the back of the grove. And I did that, and this is when I was when I was doing my all road playthrough, and I was trying to work out what was going on, and I was trying. We had the full party of rogues finally, and this was like the first major combat we were doing. I went into combat and I just didn't, because this was the first one I could do where I started from stealth. That's right. The first combat that we had done were the harpies out the back over there. But then this was the first time I was going to be able to do a combat where we were all starting from stealth. And I'm thinking, great, here we go. And I started combat, and only 2 of us were in combat because we were discovered. And then, even though I had done no other actions for my 2 characters that were in combat, and also done no actions for my other companions who weren't in combat, the enemies that were down below me, who were also in my combat timeline, so they should not be doing anything, because it wasn't their turn in combat yet, it was still one of my character's turns, they were every few seconds doing checks to see if they could discover my other 2 stealth characters. And one of my other 2 stealth characters failed a check and got put into some sort of combat timeline by themselves, but not with me and the other enemies. It was just bizarre. So I think until, and this is actually just, I've been thinking about this as I've been streaming this right now, because I've looked to see if there are any mods to fix this. Mods that say when one of you is in combat, all of you go in combat. And so this has actually got me interested enough to look into to see if I can build a mod to do this. I don't have a huge amount of modding experience. I have built 1 mod to date. Well, no, sorry. I built some mods for 7 Days to Die. But the most recent mod that I built was actually for Neverwinter Nights 2, which I'm planning to show off soon, where I built a new class. I won't talk too much about that right now, but yeah. I'm thinking that the only way I could continue to do my Band of Rogues playthrough with an entire band of rogues, rather than just seeing how far I can solo a rogue, which is what I'm going to be doing in a few minutes when I stop this stream, the only way I would be able to do that is if I built a mod that fixed this so that when one of us went into combat, we all did. And I don't even know if it's possible to do. I have not looked into what is involved in making mods for this game, and I'm almost afraid to, because I expect it's going to be... Put it this way, my understanding is the game isn't really designed properly to be modded at this point. But there's been talk that they will be releasing an update at some point, which is supposed to be better suited for modding. So I don't know. But, yeah. I mean, think of it what you like. If you like the Larian games, that is fine. If you think this is a feature, that is fine. I think this implementation of turn-based combat is broken. And ridiculously broken. I said it in the comment that I left on the video when the guy was talking about this stuff. I said, here's the thing, right? When Pathfinder Kingmaker first came out, like 5 or 6 years ago, whenever it was real time with pause, which, quite frankly, that is what this game is. This game is real time with pause. Right? When Pathfinder Kingmaker first came out, it was real-time with pause, and then somebody created a mod, like just a community member created a mod to turn the game into a fully functional turn-based combat. And quite frankly, it was amazing. It worked brilliantly. I never found a single issue with it. And in fact, a few months later, when Larian Studios released, or a year or so later it was, when when Owlcat Games released an update for Pathfinder Kingmaker that introduced their own version of turn-based combat into the game, I actually preferred the modded version. But what I'm getting at here is that just some guy, I mean, this person, I don't know who they were, they could actually be very experienced at modding games. They probably are. Good on them. But what I'm getting at is one person or a small group of people created a mod that does, for a game, which does a better implementation of turn-based combat than a system that Larian Studios, a AAA studio, has been using for over 10 years. Because this is the same game engine that was used for Divinity Original Sin 1 and 2. That's my understanding. I could be wrong, but my understanding is it's the same engine. They just slapped the D&D name on it and made a few minor changes and called it good, right? So I don't understand Larian Studios thinking. Like, they have to have some documentation somewhere that explains why they have the turn-based system working the way it does. And I would love to see it. But anyway, I think we've proven just how screwed up this is. Technically, I've still got 2 other combats going over there. And I'm going to be able to go over this way and do whatever the hell I want. Leaving my companions, we can see that I can't rest. Either short rest or long rest. That's the only thing that I can't seem to do. I can level up myself or companions. I can interact with other things. I can start other combats. I can finish other combats. You know, I can participate in other combats. I can do most anything this game allows me to do except rest when I have companions in combat. And that is just insane. And so broken and makes absolutely no sense to me. So anyway, I hope you liked this little discovery of what can and cannot be done in Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian Studios. Yeah, maybe there's a way you can see to use this to take advantage of the game. I can't quite really see it. purely because you can't rest, but I don't know. And if I do come up with a mod or find a mod by somebody else that fixes combat so that it's all in or nothing, then I will let you know, and I will definitely be continuing the Rogues Band playthrough. I mean, the Rogues Band playthrough is going to continue anyway. I'm going to stop this video now, and I'm stop this stream now, and I'm going to load up my other game and continue on with my solo playthrough. But yeah, this is horribly broken in my opinion, and I am probably not going to play any other Larian Studios turn-based games unless I can be sure that they are actually turn-based. I don't know how much longer I will be willing to put up with the jank of Baldur's Gate 3 and whether I will finish it, but we shall see. But yeah, for those of you who are here right now when I'm streaming this, I will be back in a few minutes with the next playthrough. Thank you, everybody, for joining me, and I will see you next time. Bye now.